Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today's tutorial is going to be a very quick and simple one. We're going to be learning how to make these beautiful skirts in a very easy way. So my name is Ruby, and if you are a returning subscribers, I thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new to this channel, please guys do well to like, share and subscribe. So this is the fabric I'm going to be using. I got 3 yards of this fabric and the length is by 60. So the first thing you're supposed to do is to mark your starting line. So the white chalk you're seeing on top of this fabric is my starting line, and I'm going to be placing my tape rule 2 inches above that starting line because this skirt is going to be having a band. Now the next line I am drawing is 6 inches line. I'm going to be showing you its use. So just draw 6 inches, and you are also permitted to go down by 2. You can go down by 8 inches, but me, I'm going to be using 6 inches. Please remember there's 2 inches above my starting point. Now this line I just drew right now is for the length of my center front. You know, if you check well, the center is longer than the side, so, and minus the flay. We are not talking about the flay for now. So right now I just marked my waist circumference, and this point right now I'm introducing my hip line, which is 8 inches. Remember I told you can go down by 8 inches if you want, but since mine is 6 inches, I'm introducing my hip line, which is 8 inches, and I'm marking my hip circumference measurement. That's your hip circumference divided by 4. You're just going to mark it there. But since I'm not going to be using that because my own line is stopping at 6 inches, if your line is stopping at 8 inches, you can mark your hip waist circumference there. Then from your waist, just draw your line to meet to your hip line. But mine, which is I'm using 6 inches. But mine, so now that's I'm going to be making use of circumference that I marked at my waist line. 6 inches line. I'm bringing it down at my. So from that 6 inches, I look at 6 inches line, like a and I'm just drawing to meet like a triangle line. To meet that last line from the length of my center front. That last line is please the length of this center front. Yours can 11 inches. 14 inches, depending on the length that you want for my use of. You want yours. So right now I'm just giving half inches allowance up to 14 inches. Mark as my. So right now that is what I did. So I hope you understand. I will not be cutting exactly. If you want, I give half inches allowance. So I'll be cutting using my half inches allowance, and I'm going to cut all through to the waistline. So just watch and see what I am doing. So right now we're going to be cutting this shape into 4 parts. 2 is going to serve as the outer fabric, while the other 2 is going to serve as my lining. So right now I'm just cutting it. Don't worry, I'm going to show you everything, how you are going to stitch and join everything. So this is it. This is the 4 parts I'm talking about. So I'm just going to open it up, and I will be placing 2 front side facing each other like this. I'll be placing it like this, and I'll be taking my measurement. So before then I noticed the downside wasn't equal, so I'm going to be using my scissors to trim out the excess. So just watch and see what I'm doing. So now I'm going to bring my tape rule and show you guys what I did in case you don't understand. Now, like I said before, I removed 2 inches for the band, and the length there is 11 inches. Now the length of my skirt, that flay, I'm going to be adding more 10 inches. That's the length of that flay is going to be 10 inches. So 11 plus 10 inches is 21 inches. That means the length of my skirt from the waist to the hem is 21 inches. But I'll be adding allowance to it. Please don't forget to add allowance to this. It's very important. add your allowance to it. I'll be adding 2 inches allowance to it. So right now what we are going to do now is to cut our flay. The length we'll be using, like I said, is 10 inches, and I added 2 inches, that is 12 inches. So I'm going to cut as long as I want, and the length will be 12 inches. I hope you understand. So I'm just going to trim the up, and I will also trim the side of it. As you can see, it's not equal, and I'm actually trying to manage my fabric. So guys, if you're watching up to this moment and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do well to subscribe. I have other videos on this channel you can go through and watch. So right now I'm just trimming the side. So now this, I'm going to cut this particular piece into 4. I'll be cutting it into 4 places. Do you get? I'll be cutting this length into 4. You can actually calculate the length you want to use, but me, I didn't go through that. I just cut 4 pieces of this length of this material, and that is what I'm going to use to just attach at the down of my skirt. Now this is 38.5, and this is on fold right now. So you know 38 times 2 is what this length is. So I'm still going to cut, like I said, I'll be cutting up to 4 pieces of it, so that I'll be able to just gather it very well. If you don't want yours to be very gathered, you can just use 3. You can even use 2. It's very possible. The highest is not going to gather the way you saw it on my picture. So I'm still cutting. I'm going to cut 3 like I initially said. Now I'll be showing you guys how to join this to the first part which I just showed you guys how to cut. I'm going to show you there's so many ways you can join this flay to the top part we just cut. There's so many ways, but I'm going to be showing you guys the simplest and the most neatest style of it. Everything is going to be covered internally. You're not going to be seeing any rough edges on it. So right now I've introduced this top part again. Now I'm just showing you guys that you're going to be taking your waist measurement. Like I said before, your waist, if your waist is 30, you take 30 divided by 2, which is 15. You measure 15. The excess you have, you're going to share it between the left and the right side. So that is what you're going to do. So that is what I am going to do, and you will just see it. So this is it. I'm taking my waist measurement. I'm taking my waist measurement, this which is 15. Then the excess I have 3, 4. So I'm going to be sharing 2 inches at both sides. So that is what I'm trying to explain. So I'm going to sew to the down just like this. So I'm just going to sew, but the thing I want to tell you now is that I'm going to be sewing only one side of it. You have to sew only one side of it, and take note of the measurement for the other side, because if you sew the both sides, you can't join the flay comfortably at the downside. So I would advise you to sew at one side, then you can join the flay as neat as possible. I'm going to show you guys. So this is it. I've done one side of it and the other side is not sewn. So right now, the next thing you are supposed to do, or we are supposed to do, is to join that 11 inches of fabric we cut. We'll join all of them, all the 3 into a very long one. So right now, I'm just going to show you that I added more of that 11 inches, more of that 12 inches, sorry. I added more of it, making it 4. Initially I cut 3. I now added another one, making it 4, because I want I want the flay to pop out more. That's why I added more to it. So I added one more to it, making it 4 of 12 inches. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So that is what I did. So I'm just showing you guys. Now I'm going to go back to this place, and now we'll be introducing our needle and thread so that we can gather it. So like I said, you join all of them to make a very long fabric. Then you use your needle and thread, then you gather it, you just gather it. Then later we're going to be placing it on the top part of the skirt, and we'll just sew it to fit into what we want it to fit into. Don't worry, I'm going to show you everything. So right now I'm just gathering it. I'll gather everything, and here it is. I'm through gathering. That's why I added more of the length, because I want it to be like this. I want the flay to be very, very much, because I'm not chubby, I'm a little bit skinny, so I want it to just gathered. And the top I'll be using for this, it's close to a body hug top, so I want my flay to pop out more. So just watch and see how I attach this flay to the top part of the skirt. Just watch and see. So here right now I give a notch to this side of the skirt, because initially I told you we took our measurement at the left and the right hand side, but we only sewed for the other side and we left the other one open. So I just gave that notch to indicate this is where I am supposed to sew. So right now, when you are attaching your flay, I want you to give 1/2 inches before that notch. Before the notch, we're going to be attaching our flay 1/2 inches before the notch. You can actually start from the beginning. If you can just start from the beginning to just avoid anything, just start from the beginning. For me, I started 1/2 inches after the notch, or before the notch, sorry, 1/2 inches before the notch, just like this. 1/2 inches before the notch, yes, just like this. But you can actually start yours from the beginning. It's very, very safe to do that, please. So this is how I'm just going to be sewing it to this side of it. I'll just take it gently and I will sew, and I will do it all round the skirt, just like this. So right now I'm just going to sew, and I will bring it for you guys to see. So this is it. I've attached it. You can see how much the flay came out. It was very, very beautiful on me, like I've shown you on the beginning, at the beginning of this video. At the beginning of the video, I've shown you guys. So this is the inner look of it, and I told you before that I'll be using the same fabric for my lining. So I've sewn it exactly the way I sewed for the other part of it. So I'm going to, so I'll turn it like this so that I'll be able to attach my lining to it, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. This is going to make your work very, very neat. It's just going to be like already made. You won't see any rough edges at the side of the skirt. It's going to come out very nice. So please guys, just watch how I did mine. So as you can see, I'm joining the peak of the skirt together with the one with the flay, and as you can see, the flay is in between them. The flay is in between them. So So you're going to turn this lining like this. This is the front side of the lining. Then you pick the peak of this one and the peak of the other line, the lining, and you join them together and you sew like this, so that when you turn inside, it's going to cover all those rough edges. So that is what we are supposed to do. So just watch and see. So this is it. I'm still going to do it for the other side. Just watch and see. So I'm just showing you all this process so that you understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to sew like this. I'm going to sew all through. Now I'm through sewing, and this is what you were supposed to have, like this. So we're going to turn it inside out. You turn it inside out, then you use your scissors to poke out that center part of it that is just like a triangle shape. So you're going to use your scissors or something to poke it out so that it will come out well. So this is it. Look at, you can't even differentiate the front and the back because everything is sewn. All the rough edges are inside. So I'm going to weave this. I'm going to be weaving everything at the downside. I'm using the same matching thread to weave it. So now for the side of this skirt, you are to sew it inside, like inside out. You have to sew it inside so that when you turn to the front, it's going to be neat. So this is it. Like I said, just going to sew it inside so that it's going to be neat at the outer side. And I also run a straight stitch at the top part to hold the skirt together. So the next thing for us to do now is just to add our band. Like I said, our band is 2 inches, but when I was making this video, when I was making my band, I actually made mine to be 3 inches because the skirt was a little bit short and I wanted to use it and go to church. So it was a little bit short for church, so I had to add my band. So I added, instead of 2 inches as my band, I made my band to be 3 inches. So that is the only difference in this video. I made my band to be 3 inches. So right now I'm just closing the side. I'm closing the side. Remember, from your waist to that 6 inches, we use 2 inches. So you're going to use that same 2 inches. Then when you get to the flare, you just use ½ inches and just run it down. So that is what I did here. So like I said, the only thing remaining here is my band. Before I forget, I added a zipper to this skirt. I added a zipper to it. So you just, and it's a side zipper. As you can see, there is no cut at the back side, so it's going to be a side zipper. So I bought an invisible zip for this. I bought an invisible zip and I added a zipper to the side of the skirt. So that is definitely what I did for this. So right now I'm just pinning the side of it that is open. So if I want to now sew the side part, I'm going to leave I left 5 inches for my zip. I measured 5 inches, then at that 5 inches, that is where I begin my sewing to the hem of the skirt. So that opening at the top served as my zip, where I'm going to be attaching my zip. So that is what I did. So here is the finished look of the dress. Look at the band I added to it. Everything is so beautiful. The only difference in this is just that I haven't added my zip to it. So this is it. This is how simple and beautiful it looks. Now this is me fitting the skirt and this top. Now this top, I haven't actually made it. I just wore it, like I just tied it. I'm just fitting the skirt, and you see how simple and beautiful it came out. Everything is actually neat and clean. So guys, thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope to see you on my next tutorial. Bye.